Testing, microphone, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's an absolute miracle. Guys, look at this. I've got Ben Shalom on camera. It's an absolute miracle. Can you believe it? He's actually here and he's not run off.
It's good to see you. No, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. You were one of the first. I think I was I not the first?
He was? Yeah.
Do proper long sit-downs with you, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good to be back.
It's good to have you back. We're going to talk about, obviously, we can see in bright lights behind you the beautiful British colours, the Crystal Palace colours as well. Talk to us about this fight, a fight that was going to happen, might have happened, could have happened, but now it's happening.
Yeah, it's well, I think the fight was always happening. Venues were difficult. I think, obviously, first and foremost, we looked at potentially going back to Bournemouth. We've been there 4 times. It's been magical, to be honest, and Chris has had some great experiences, but they couldn't do it. And myself and Richard had always dreamt and talked about selling. And we went to see Steve Parish maybe 18 months ago, talked about the possibility. They really love Richard, and so to see it all come together, I can't thank them enough. Amazing for Richard. I mean, Chris got his chance last year, so to see Richard get his chance this year, and yeah, it's special. Both guys changing their lives, and both guys getting the opportunity. And Richard's someone that we've worked with for a long time, and I've seen him develop so much as a fighter, and then had to be patient for which usually happens at world level for the right fight. And yeah, so happy to deliver this because. And thank you to Chris as well, because he has to, as a champion, swallow something and come to South London.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. How did you get the 2 fighters to actually, it's not even meeting in the middle, is it? It's sort of like the champion is going over to the challenger's ground. I mean, how did you manage to sort that out between them? Because I can imagine that might have got a little bit, I don't know, a little bit awkward.
Well, I think, to be honest, sometimes it comes down to what's on offer. First of all, don't forget, Chris Billam-Smith won his world title as a challenger in his hometown. But then you've got to look, so Vitality is not available. We're not going to go to the international centre. It's only 3,000 or 4,000. Then it's the British summertime. We want to create a festival experience. Palace want to do it. It's South London, which is actually easy to get to for the Bournemouth fans. So we expect a load of coaches coming up from them. And where would you prefer, rather than indoor on a hot night in the O2 or Wembley? This made a lot of sense, and I think it's going to be special. I really do. I think boxing fans love a night out, and they love to enjoy themselves. This one is going to be very, very big. I mean, Crystal Palace are putting on all sorts of entertainment. This is going to be a full day experience. We've got a huge undercard, 2 more fights to announce next week as well. So in the end, it was a no-brainer. Chris is a sensible guy, and he sees the opportunity for himself as well.
As the promoter of both of these cruiserweights, I will say that you are top heavy with the cruiserweights in the UK. The pressure, you know both of them, you know them quite well. Richard, like you said, was your first signing. The pressure on these fighters, it's not like it's Masternat coming over from Europe who wants to win the fight. There's no real interest in that fighter for him to win. But this time it's sort of like 2 of your kids going at it.
Yeah,
what is that like?
It's not. Look, Buatsi Aziz was quite similar.
Yes.
And in a similar way, Buatsi, because I've been with Dan so long, just thought, just clearly on Dan's side. And probably Chris, there's a little bit of him saying, I know that those 2 are very close. But I think all you can do is deliver for both of them. And when it works for both of them, then you're a happy man. And I think... look, there's a lot of noise in boxing and about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And sometimes you just have to step back sometimes and say, what's right for the guy that is trusting me or is helping me by trusting me in their career. And that's always weighed as the number 1 priority for me. So to see Richard change his life and achieve his dream, to see Chris Billam-Smith just go from European level to completely change. I've seen it with my own eyes, what's happened. And I think that's just I run through a brick wall for both of these guys, and that's the truth. And so to see them both get their opportunity, I can't do anything more. It's now in their hands. Yep. The winner's going to win. The loser's going to lose. It's there for them.
The winner's going to win and the loser's going to lose. The pressure on the fighter. What happens? Obviously, there's going to be a loser. Fair enough, it could be a draw. We could have Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley again. I get that. Let's hypothetically say there is a loser. They're both of your fighters. What happens for the loser?
That domestic scene in the cruiserweight division is big. Isaac Chamberlain's shown that. He's now fighting for a European title. Luckily for them, there's huge options in the domestic scene, so they both have big fights after. Either way, of course, they want to both be at world level, and they both need to win to stay at world level. But it's what dreams are made of, and sport is sport, and ultimately there is going to be someone that loses, but it won't be the end of their career. I think Richard's got huge ambitions at heavyweight. Chris Billam-Smith, to be honest, really wants to unify. That's his goal. But we'll see what happens. Like, I think they both know deep down this is a tough fight. They've both been in there with the ring. They're both completely different fighters this time. I don't know who's going to win, and I say that hand on heart. And I don't think many fans know who's going to win. And it's going to be a real serious event. I mean, we saw what happened with Wardley Clark. Buatsi Aziz was a great night as well. And so this is a third in London. This time outdoor. This time for a world title. It is going to be spectacular on June the 15th. It really is.
The world of boxing, as you know, it's a tough sport. It's a tough sport for the fighters, but I think a lot of the toughness and the resilience has to come from outside the ring. I know, Ben. I've sat there on the sidelines. I'm part of the media. You've had a bit of a rough journey so far, but you're still here. What would you say that you've learnt being a boxing promoter so far? Because it's early days. What have you learnt so far?
Look, for me, it might feel like early days for you, but I got my life. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately at the top of any profession, or especially boxing, it's going to be competitive. You're going to get criticism. We're a young company coming to established industry, 40, 50 years of the same promoters. So to have the balls to go and do that, and to see opportunities that maybe others don't, I'm incredibly proud of our journey. I think it's a phenomenal story. And I think this year, we've got to work within budget. We've got to do what we can do within our control. But the events that we're putting on, I think we're putting on the biggest British events. I think we've got the most exciting British stable. We've gone from Maya Jonas in Liverpool. We've gone from Buatsi Aziz. We've gone Wardley Clark. Lauren Price gets her huge coming in Cardiff. Lawrence Okoli, after a difficult period, we're delivering him a world title in a division that he likes. And then this. I think sometimes the joy that you get from delivering for the fighters that you represent is really what you have to stay focused on. And so whatever, I'm a young guy, but the lessons you have to learn is in life is listen to the people close to you and make sure that you know that you're doing the right thing. You're not doing it because you want to please people that aren't, you don't even know. You're doing it because you wanted to deliver for fighters, especially that invest in you, and we keep delivering for our fighters, and that's something I'm really proud of. But yeah, I think mostly is to just block out the noise, because there's a reason why no one's walked this path before, and I'm having to do it, and we've done it from day one, and it was hard when we started. It was hard before. This is, if I'm honest, having no TV deal, having no money, having no way of sometimes paying your staff, and it's a lot easier now. At least we can deliver fights that I've never expected to deliver, and huge nights as well. So yeah, I think we'll continue to block out the noise, do what we've done. It's taken us this far. We're still such a young business. We're still so early days. And I think what we're doing is unprecedented. I really do.
You've got to have that confidence and belief as yourself as a promoter, because it's very dog eat dog. It's dog eat dog in the media. It's dog eat dog in any business. So you've got to be able to stand on your business, as we say. The only thing that that has always been like the gripe. We can't argue with the cards that you're putting on. We can't argue that you're filling the British vacuum. You're putting on some good cards. You're getting those title cards on. But I think I'll always come from a fan's point of view. It was always the last, not always, but the last minute purse bid pullouts. And it's not, listen, we know that you're entitled to pull out a fighter on the day. It doesn't say that you have to have 2 weeks notice, etc. But it's like the common courtesy side of it would say, look, we had this with Riakporhe. We had this with Fraser Clark. All right, what have we learned from that, and how would we do things differently? You know, when you look at just like reflection moving forward, if that happens and you think, I don't want to take my fighter down this road, I want to do something that I believe is best for them, then it's sort of like that common courtesy.
No, look,
I mean,
I
correct me
think,
if I'm wrong.
first of all, promoters can't pull fighters out of purse bids. Like, I think this.
You can advise them to, though, right?
No, but their managers are usually the promoter puts on the shows, the manager advises their career, and the fighters will choose what they want to choose. Ultimately, of course, we can advise and this and that. Do I regret how it was handled in terms of the last minute nature? Looking back, it wasn't intentional. There's a lot of people that have to be on the same page, and it, as I say, can't come from me. Do I regret how some of it was handled? Yes. Did we make the right decision for our fighters, and was it with the best intention? Yes. But yeah, of course, I think with any business, we're constantly looking at what we can do and what we can improve, and I appreciate that. But then I also appreciate that, you know, people are going to criticize whatever you do, and ultimately, the amount of shit that I got for Wardley Clark was wild.
And Fraser Clark got it as well, the poor thing.
Wild. But it was the right decision. No one can argue with that. I mean, if anything, it was early for him to take on such a challenge like Fabio Wardley. Look at how intense that fight was. Imagine if he'd gone in with no experience. Okay, he had a bit of experience, there still wasn't a lot. He can be dangerous. Doesn't matter how talented you are. That's all it is. Do I want to be sat there with Fraser Clark in 20 years' time with his missus saying, how can you let him in the British title after 6 fights and he gets all it takes is one punch, especially in that division? I'm not going to be there. I want to be knowing that I did whatever I can. Of course, it's up to the fighters to then deliver, but I'm not going to look back and say, I put my own ego and popularity ahead of a fighter's welfare. No chance.
We talk about that, and like I said, it's not the fact of you pulling him out, it's just the time scale, but we put that to bed. We're moving forward. Talk to us about, you know, what we can expect, because one of the things I said is boxer really need to like build that trust and confidence back with the public. We need to be able to put, you know, place bets on you guys to say, this is why we should support boxer, this is why we should get behind them. Talk to us about things that you've got planned for the future that will entice the boxing fans to really get behind you guys in the sport.
No, I think as a young business, all we can do is deliver the best fights that we can. And since this year, you only have to look at the schedule. You only have to look at what we're delivering. We're a British promoter on a British broadcaster with British fighters, and we're making the best fights we possibly can. We're packing out arenas, we're packing out stadiums. That's all we can do. And the ratings speak for themselves, and the fights speak for themselves. And that's what we'll continue. We're not going to sit here and talk this and talk that and say this and say that. All we have to try and do is focus on delivering, making sure our fighters are delivered for, making sure we're putting on the best fights possible. And to be honest, it's been a phenomenal year, and long may it continue. And we've got three world titles coming up for Lawrence and Lauren and Richard and Chris, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Ben Whittaker, you rising star. I saw that you guys were out in the US, and I've got to wrap this up now. I've got to keep this question short. No, I thought, oh, right, okay. Ben Whittaker, Ben Shalom. I even messaged Ben Whittaker and said, oi, do you want to go and see Eddie Hearn? Yeah, sorry, I'll do these things, sorry. Shoot me now. But I knew you was all out there, and I was thinking, okay, are we going to get that collaborative working? I just thought the timing was right. Riyadh season is doing its bits all over the world. Are we going to see? Because I know Ben Whittaker wants to fight in America, and I've seen what you're doing with him out there, and fair play to you, because he's bigger than a lot of things, and it's going to take a lot to keep him, because he's that star, isn't he? But when we talk about collaborations, is that something that we can expect to see in the future?
With Riyadh season?
Yeah, with you guys.
No, we'd love to, but ultimately, again, we can only do what is in our control. I think our fighters, we've had offers, they won't be ignored, they're going to be on the biggest stages. However, with Ben Whittaker at his stage of his career, I'm interested in putting him on the biggest shop window I possibly can. And that's my job as a promoter. That's why he's on these big bills. That's why he's fighting in front of huge audiences in this country, and I think that's why we're seeing this success. I just want him active, fit, fighting regularly, and we're seeing what happens and giving him that platform. And now he's got Sky Sports, he's got NBC and Peacock. That's a platform that hasn't been in boxing for 2016, has 30 million subscribers, is in 120 million homes to NBC linear, and we want to make sure that he's aired in front of that size audience. I've never been with a fighter that can walk around New York and get stopped. Most American fighters can't. He's doing it after 6 fights. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We're doing everything right. We're working extremely hard. We're very close to him, very close to his family, and we're on a mission. And the mission's to make him the face of boxing. And people were laughing when I said that when we started. They're probably still laughing now. But I truly believe, with all the showboating that goes with it, with everything, the meticulous attention to detail that everyone's putting into his ring walks, and that he puts in inside and outside the ring, he is destined for greatness. He's going to be a great in the sport. Forget the showboating. The guy is extremely talented, a unique talent. I think he'll become a world champion, possibly unified division. If everything goes to plan, he's going to go down in history. And I want to do my job by keeping him active, put him on the biggest platforms possible, and letting him work his magic. And it's early days, and so there's a lot of talk already, but this is so early on. This is right at the start. I think we're going to go on to do amazing things. And what's great about him, his feet are on the ground. He's, as much as all you see everything. I was out in New York. I've got 15, 20 fighters. I've struggled to say anyone works as hard as him. He's up at 6 a.m. He's training. He's watching what he is. He's training again at lunch. He's training again in the evening. He is relentless, meticulous, dedicated in every single way to the sport. He's going to create talking points. He's going to do things where I'm like, but that's what the greats do. They're all a bit crazy. They all create talking points. They all are in every sport. And it's amazing to see the trajectory and the attention. Long may it continue, but I think it's going to go to another level. This is very, very early stage.
Thank you so much for your time, Ben. Until the next time. I don't think he's going to run off now. We've broke the seal finally.
Broke the seal, yeah. But
people say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.